If you're planning to start, or even if you have a B2B lead generation agency, there's a lot of questions around how you should charge your clients in terms of the actual offer structure, guarantee, and pricing structure. Now, I've been running a B2B lead gen agency for years and I've done millions in sales. And today I'm going to break down the different pricing structures I've used as well as the pros and cons of each. We're going to talk about pay-per-lead, pay-per-call, commission, retainer, and some cool hybrid mixed pricing structures. This is video number 3 in a series where I'm going from A to Z on how to grow a B2B lead gen agency. So I hope you enjoy, and let's go ahead and jump into my whiteboard and get going. All right, starting out, zoomed out a bit. This is video 3, as I mentioned. The first one is what is a B2B lead generation agency? Number 2 was how to start an agency, get your first client, and this will be around pricing. So if you're interested, make sure to check out those first 2. Now, to kind of give a high-level overview, we're going to talk about offer structures, pricing structures, get specific on commission-based, pay-per-call, pay-per-lead, retainer, mixed pricing structures, and finish the video by answering the question of should you offer a guarantee. Now, to start off this video, we're going to jump right into offer structures. Now, this is a similar graphic to what I had in the first video, so you've seen this before, that's why, but I think it's good to go over. Now, when it comes to B2B lead gen, for the most part, people don't care what platform you're doing this on. Now, I'm going to talk about cold email as I've grown and scaled my cold email agency, done for you meetings, so that's what I have authority to talk on, but you could do this with emails, calls, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn DMs, Twitter DMs, Facebook DMs, even in-person networking, mail. People don't really care. Essentially, our job is to generate leads for a business to have pipeline, for them to get customers, and them to make money. Now, in terms of the actual offers, there are really 4 core categories that at least I'm going to talk about. The first one is managed lead generation. This is where we are managing their lead generation. We are doing the work. We are being an agency. We could do full cycle, taking people all the way from finding them to closing them, semi-cycle, which could be taking them to a lead or from to a lead and then to a call. We could do a single part. We're just doing deliverability. We could do one platform, we could do email and LinkedIn, or we could do every platform. There isn't a right or wrong answer. Now, there's obviously things I recommend and don't, but that is just the general idea of what is managed lead generation. Now, moving beyond there, we have consulting. This would be showing people how to do it. Third, we have setups and training. This is where we do a more done with you, where we build the system for people and train their team, normally larger companies. This is most of what I do outside of management. And then there is specialization in a single part. Maybe you just set up LinkedIn accounts, or you're just email deliverability guy, or phone deliverability, list building. It could be whatever, just one singular thing. Now, if you want to go even more in depth on this, as well as the questions I asked to choose what's the right answer, that would be video number 1 of the series, which will be in the description. However, I just want to give a quick high-level recap. Now moving on to pricing structures, I'm going to make this video focused around managed campaigns, right? We are managing people's campaigns, and I'm going to be talking about cold email, but 85% of this will apply to LinkedIn, cold calling, or whatever else you want to offer. There are a few core pricing structures. We have commission. This is where people pay us on commission when they close business. We have pay-per-call. This is when people pay us per call that shows up to a meeting. We have pay-per-lead. This is where we get paid when somebody raises their hand and says, I want more information. We have retainer. This is where there's a set amount of deliverables provided every single month, and there's a set bill every single month. And then we have mixed or hybrid, which is where we're combining one or more of these together to create something that maybe has more stability, but also a performance aspect. So that is going to be the core 5 pricing structures. Now, throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each of these so you have a good understanding and you go into getting your first client with confidence on how you can charge them. All right, starting off here of commission base. This is I'm going to do outreach for somebody, and when they close business and get paid, I get paid. Now, naturally, this is going to be extremely easy to sell. Now, something that is extremely easy to sell is not always a positive, and we'll get more into that later, but it is very, very, very easy to sell. You can also genuinely scale. You're not restricted to a certain amount of contacts you reach each month, and as long as your client can take on more business, you can scale with them. You also can have a lot of flexibility in how you work with people as long as there's tracking, whether you go to a lead magnet, to a call, to whatever you want it to be, right? There's not like a set path. You can also earn more with the right partner. If you're working with somebody that charges $50K for a massive website or software to build out, you have a 20% commission, you can make some really good money. It's also a good place to start if you have someone that you trust a lot. I emphasize trust a lot and more on that for the cons, but it can be a good place to start. And you can truly optimize campaigns for success. Rather than optimizing around lead, pay per lead, or call, pay per call, you are optimizing around what really matters, which is revenue. And that might mean that maybe you have bad metrics when it comes to leads or calls, but they're with huge companies and 1 out of 3 closes on a massive deal. So those are some of the pros of commission. Let's move into some of the cons. All right, for the cons, having the right partner can actually be quite difficult. You need somebody that's going to put their full effort into these leads. And a lot of times as people see them as free leads, the wrong person could abuse that. Now you also need to trust them. Are they going to commission you for every single person that comes through your campaigns? When someone doesn't come from a cold email, but they come from a cold email to the website, to a form, kind of indirectly, are they going to backtrack that to make sure that you get paid what you deserve? And this is where I don't really recommend doing this unless you really, really trust somebody and ideally have an established relationship with them already. Number 2 is you need somebody that has an outbound proven offer. Now, a lot of people have grown only from content or referrals, and while they can definitely work for cold email, I would not play around with commission unless somebody has already proven that cold email can work for them. Ideally, this is just another channel for them, not the only channel. So I would only touch this if someone really has an offer that works well. Now, this may also lead you to getting inconsistent cash flow, and that ties to the point right next to it, which is your prospect may have a long sales cycle. Even my sales cycle is 3 months. So if you're working with me on commission, it's probably going to be 5 months to get paid. Now, as a beginner, that cash flow can be important, and not getting paid potentially for 5 months could be a pretty big deal. So you need to consider the cash flow element of this. Also, client retention becomes your problem. Your client's client retention matters. If your client goes on too many holidays or doesn't treat people well or gets bad results or wants to retire, sells the business, you are affected by this because you are paid on commission. You also may get a lack of buy-in from the client. Because you are the free lead source, they may not give you their best sales reps or their best effort, etc. You also have an ongoing need to track upsells or cross-sells. If your client upsells somebody, cross-sells somebody, they refer them somebody, you need to make sure that commission is followed, and that's in a very clear contract, which ties to my last point. You do need a very clear contract here. You need something where if you're not paid, it's so clear that you can go to collections and get paid. So those are the pros and cons of commission. Do you recommend doing it? Yes, if you have someone you already know, already trust, and it's a first client, or if you're really experienced and have a buddy that you know just ripping it outbound, yes, but for most people, it's probably not the best way to build your business. Now, next up here, we have pay-per-call. Now, pay-per-call is probably my least favorite pricing structure. I didn't want to just make up pros to put a bunch, so I put 2. It's easy to sell. Not as easy to commission, that's the easiest, but it's easy to sell, and you can scale for right clients. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit with pay-per-call, but I could have made a lot more if I didn't do this for so long. Now, let's talk about the cons here, and that's going to be a longer section of pay-per-call. There's quite a few things. So starting off here, it's hard to track no-shows on both ends. How do you know if a prospect didn't show up to a call? And how do you know if it was your client? Or if it's a bigger company especially, how do you know if their sales reps didn't show up? You want to get compensated for that. Also, clients can fight you on every single lead. Every single lead is a new billing opportunity. It's not just a retainer. So it gives you an opportunity to say, well, that lead wasn't qualified, or this doesn't count, or that doesn't count. And sometimes you will have legitimate parameters where if someone doesn't fall on it, it doesn't count. And other times there'll be something where it's well, I don't like this one because it doesn't match my opinion on morality, or I just don't like this type. Well, that didn't fall into a category, and what do? Do you make your client pay and then lose them? It has a lot of conflict that can come up, which is my least favorite thing about pay-per-call. It can also lead to inconsistent cash flow, as you don't really know how much call someone will or won't book this or that week, where a retainer is more consistent, even pay-per-lead. You're also forced to optimize every campaign for a call. If you're targeting really big companies, they want more information or case studies or a soft call to action where you're forced to push people onto the phone, which with really busy CEOs, it's not going to work very well. So it kind of puts you in this box where your campaigns are destined to not work as well. You also lose leads when somebody wants info but not a call. If someone says, yeah, tell me more information, but they just want to have a conversation over email, not a call, which is how some people buy, you don't get paid for this. So it leads to a loss of leads and revenue. You also have to have a really deep understanding of your business because you need to do appointment setting. I've seen people where they do pay-per-call in their client appointment sets. You're putting all of your eggs in their basket. That is so stupid. Don't do that. You need to do appointment setting here, which requires a really, really deep understanding of your business, more than just having a normal client, and it can be hard to scale clients because of this. And you'll also lose leads that go directly to your client, right? People go to their website, they message them on social media. There will be some slippage of leads that you will lose here. So overall, I don't really like pay-per-call. I think it'd be okay in the right situations. You can make money, I know, because I have, but it's not something I'm a huge fan of. Up next is pay-per-lead. Now, pay-per-lead is multiple steps up from pay-per-call. I like this pricing structure a lot more, and it's actually one of my favorite pricing structures. I started doing this in my later days of doing performance pricing structures, and I loved it. I had way better retention of clients, way better experiences, and it was just great. Now, this is pretty easy to sell. It's not as easy to sell as pay per call or commission, but it's pretty easy. And you can genuinely scale this. I have had people get almost up to $10,000 a month on pay per lead, so you really can scale this. And it also makes working people quite flexible. You can test out different call to actions that aren't just around the phone. So you can go after these bigger companies and have softer CTAs. And I really appreciated that because it gave me this whole new playing field of tests to run, which was awesome. Now, you also don't need to hire appointment setters, which means you'll have a higher margin because you're just giving your clients leads for them to take down their normal sales cycle. And this is also like what legitimate companies will want if they want performance. Like, the biggest clients I had on performance pricing, because the biggest want retainer, more on that later, they wanted pay per lead because they have SDRs, they have BDRs, they have sales reps, and they want to give them leads to go for a really in-depth sales cycle. So this is what they really wanted, and it worked out very well. Now, a couple of the cons, because there are cons of everything, is you are judged on a pay per lead level when it comes to billing. Right? You still have the same problem of pay-per-call, but it's a little bit less drastic here. Now, your client also needs to know how to appointment set. And when I was selling this to bigger companies that had SDRs, BDRs. It wasn't an issue. But if you're selling to someone who has no idea how to appointment set, even though it's not a deliverable, if they don't close business, they're going to churn. You won't get paid. They won't get paid. It's a waste of everybody's time. So you'll need to at least train them on how to appointment set if they don't already know. Now, following up from that, you need a system for appointment setting that maintains threads. Now, without getting too technical, because I know this video is a little bit more beginner, you can't just have them email their leads. You need to find a way to connect the conversations, which we have a whole system on that. Maybe that's another video. Drop it in the comments you want to see. But you don't want them just to get a lead, then email them from a disconnected email because you lose that thread and it becomes unrelated and blah, blah, blah. Not a big deal, easy to fix, but it is something to consider. So overall, do I recommend pay per lead? Yes, and I really like it. I think it's a great place to start out and actually grow a business as well. Now, moving on to the bread and butter, the retainer. This is what I have all of my clients on that I am managing, and it is also what I recommend to most people after they have a couple clients. Now, keep in mind, I do a lot of consulting work. I also train a lot of companies and build their internal teams. However, when it comes to actually managing, this is the only thing I do. So I know a lot about this, and I love talking about retainers. You can see how much the pros outweigh the cons, in my opinion. And in this case, I'm actually going to start with the cons, then move to the pros. Now, the major con of this is it is harder to sell if you don't have social proof. If you have 100 reviews like I do, it's not a big deal. But if you don't, and you won't when you start, I didn't, it is hard to sell because it has more risk for the client. Also, the number 2 con is you will not have retention if you don't perform. People do not just keep paying me $5,000 to $10,000 a month to not make money. They pay me that because they make more. And the ultimate equation here is your costs, how much your client makes, is it positive or negative? Now, retainer, it's the most dramatic on that. So you cannot sell retainer and then not deliver results. Your clients will churn like crazy. Now, moving on to the pros here, and there is a lot of them, man. It scares away bad clients. There's a lot of people that don't believe in themselves and they only want pay per call or commission, so it scares them away. You can scale when you offer pricing tiers. So the whole you can't scale if you have retainer isn't true. You can scale when you have pricing tiers. I have people up to $10,000 a month I'm managing campaigns for. You have complete freedom to test between you and your client. You can go to a lead magnet, to their website, to a seminar, to a call, whatever it may be, because it's just retainer. You can also send leads places you can't track, like to a podcast or to an in-person event. There's just so much flexibility here. You have consistent cash flow. It's the same thing every single month. You have flexibility around appointment setting. They can do it, you can help, whatever. You're not judged on a per lead level because you get a bad lead. It's just part of a retainer. Large companies also really like this. They like static billing. They want something predictable and consistent. And you don't need a no-show track, which is awesome. So retainer is the best thing you can do once you have enough social proof to sell this, because it just makes your life so much easier. And I think it's the best pricing model, having done all of these extensively. And when I say extensively, I've done all of these pricing structures with at least 10 people, or like paper lead over 100, paper call over 100, retainer maybe 50 or 60. Now, one thing I do want to add here is that you can mix these up, right? If you want to start selling retainers, or you even want to just start with retainers, but you want to be a little bit easier, maybe instead of your retainer being like $3,000 or $4,000 a month, make it $500 or even $1,000 a month, and then also have pay-per lead or pay-per-call or commission. So don't be afraid to mix things up, because you can get a structure where you have consistent cash flow and you lose some of the headaches, but there's also a performance element that makes it easier to sell. So feel free to be creative and combine these. I've combined pretty much every single one of these and it's worked out pretty well. So don't feel the need to fit into a certain box. Feel free to mix and match as you see fit. So we've gone through offer structures, pricing structures, some of my pros and cons. Now let's go to the question I get asked all the time, which is, should you offer a guarantee? Now, I have a couple of notes here. For friends and family, should you offer guarantee? No, but you could just work from like a paper lead, paper call, or commission. Like, I would rather just have a performance pricing model and not have a guarantee for them. Second, sometimes instead of doing a guarantee, you can do a proof of work. Like, I'll write you a script or build you a list, or I'll reach out to 1,000 people for free. It's like a small fraction of a full service that you can do for people to try you out before working with you. This can often get around needing a guarantee because I get a sample before committing. There's also a temporary trial, or maybe it's like your first 5 leads free or your first 2 weeks free. I went through a whole month, where it's just, again, a short trial for you to show your competence and creativity to somebody and to see if you're a good fit before committing. So I would rather do that than offer a guarantee. There's also the first month free. I don't love this. I prefer to do like a temporary trial or proof of work. I don't like it. And then lastly, there'd be goal-oriented, no-risk structure. This is like only paper call or only paper lead. I don't think you should do a guarantee, because you could just do one of these. You could just do proof of work. You could just do a temporary trial, which again, it's no risk. You could just do a goal-oriented structure, which like paper call or paper lead. So no, I don't think you need to do a guarantee. Am I hugely against it? I'm not. I used to do them, but I just don't really love them. I would rather sell to a few less people and not do it and offer that temporary trial or proof of work. Now, one consideration is you should only do that for people who have buy-in, people who are on the call, they're engaged, they're active, they're filling out a form. Like, it should not just be like, hey, can I do this for free? And people just answer over email. You need to have that buy-in so your time is not wasted. So in summary, don't do a guarantee, do a trial or do a performance payment structure to start and then move into retainer. Also with no guarantee. That is my recommendation. Now, everybody, I hope that video was helpful on pricing structures. If you want more help with building your exact offer and pricing structure and want to work with me one-on-one, make sure to check out Grow B2B. There's a link in the description. Or if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I will try my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.